Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I am Juliana. I will not be one of your panelists today, but wanted to take the opportunity to introduce our event today. I work at the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, and we're really excited to be putting on this event on nuclear for you all. Thank you to everybody who's come in person and also to everyone dialed in online. I'm sure there are many of you who wanted to be here in person but couldn't make it, but great that you've had the opportunity to dial in. Just to say for those in the room, there is translation into Portuguese available on your headsets. There should be headsets on every seat. If you would like that, the channel is number 19. Please make sure it's switched on and you put the volume to maximum. But otherwise you should be able to hear all of this in Portuguese. I'm going to kick off by introducing our Deputy Ambassador, Tony Kay, for some introductory remarks. And then we've got representatives here from the World Nuclear Association, as well as Urenco and Nuclear for Climate, who will be talking to us on a panel event. So without further ado, over to Tony.
Yeah, come on. Good afternoon. Can you hear me all? Yeah? Boa tarde. Boa tarde. Isso. Okay, my name's Tony, as was just mentioned. I'm the Deputy Ambassador. I'm based in Brasilia, and it's wonderful to be here in Belém. It's a bit chilly, isn't it? But we'll do our best to keep warm. And this is all about energy, right? This is all about energy. So let's get some energy in the room, yeah? I'm going to recall a really terrible sketch from British comedy, actually, where someone introduced themselves and said, "Hi, what do you do for a living?" And the person says, "Oh, I'm a lawyer," or whatever, something. And the guy says, "Well, it's not exactly brain surgery, is it? Because I'm a brain surgeon." And so he went around the room introducing to himself. And then eventually he went to some guy and said, "Hi, I'm a brain surgeon." And the guy said, "Well, it's not exactly rocket science, is it? I'm a rocket scientist." So I'm a diplomat, and I've been a diplomat for 33 years, which is not exactly nuclear physics. But fortunately, we have some fantastic experts here to talk about the importance of nuclear in the global energy mix. And I'm delighted to say that I'm the only bloke on the stage today, which I think says everything that we need to know about the importance of diversity and inclusion in the global energy mix. And you didn't tell me to say that, but I've said it anyway. Right, so welcome to the Pavilion. Thank you so much for joining us. Since COP26 in Glasgow, the global conversation about nuclear energy has evolved immensely. The triple nuclear by 2050 pledge, have I got that right? COP28, which the UK signed, marked a real turning point in recognising nuclear's role in global decarbonisation. And further momentum was built at Baku last year. In December last year, the UK government published the Clean Power 2030 Action Plan, which recognised the role that electricity generated by renewables and nuclear will be the backbone of the UK's clean energy system moving through 2030. The UK is one of the only countries to integrate nuclear alongside other renewable technologies in our 2035 NDC. And we recently published the Net Zero Technology Outlook Report, which sets out the critical technologies the UK will need to reach its 2050 goals. And we're doing so much in the UK on nuclear development. At the start of this summer, we've announced Sizewell C power plant, which will produce enough power for 6 million homes and support 10,000 jobs during construction. We've allocated £2.5 billion for small modular reactors. But look, the UK can do what it's doing, and we are doing it, but it has to be replicated elsewhere. It has to be in partnership. My colleague who was sat there he is, he's filming me right now, Rossa. He is the head of the Science and Technology Network for the UK for the whole of Latin America. And his job is to ensure that UK experts, like the guys here, that UK experts connect with Latin American experts and beyond to look at the research, innovation, and the technology that's required to ensure that nuclear has not just one of the main central points in the global energy mix, I would argue, the central role in the global energy mix. Someone like that. Does anyone else want to applaud that one? Yeah? Yeah, there you go. Excellent, good. Right, as you can tell, I am not the global expert on nuclear. I know one or two other things, but I'm very delighted to be joined by three amazing people here today. They'll introduce themselves in a little while, but I'm going to embarrass them a little bit. So Dr. Sammer, please stand up briefly. A big round of applause for Dr. Sammer, please. Thank you. She has been previously head of the Division of Nuclear Technology, Development and Economics for the OECD, Director of Nuclear Engineering Programs at Virginia Commonwealth University. She's a nuclear engineer. She studied engineering physics, which makes me feel a little bit stupid, frankly. But Dr. Sammer, it's great to have you here. Emily, please stand up. There's Emily. She's the Deputy Director for Trade, Europe and Analysis at BEIS. Oh, you was. Sorry, you were. Right now, of course, she is the Global Head of Government Affairs for Urenco. I was checking that she was listening, okay? And she's got a background in politics, philosophy and economics, which is in no way intimidating. And then last but not least, Larissa, please stand up. Yeah. So Larissa works for Nuclear for Climate, French Ministry of Defense. Wow, and she oversees radiological protection for armed forces. So I'm not sure how she gets any sleep, because that's quite a lot of work, right? And currently she is a member of Women in Nuclear since 2018 and is the chair of the Women in Nuclear Global Young Generation, the chairperson of the global organization that focuses on youth in nuclear. So I think that deserves another round of applause, yeah? Amazing. Right, I'm going to clear off. Dr. Sammer, it's over to you, please.
Thank you so very much, Tony. I think that I've never had an introduction that was so energizing. I hope we can keep up with, with the energy, exactly. Okay, so, yeah. So, good afternoon, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, friends all of a clean energy future. It's lovely to have all of you here. So I will tell you, I am so excited to be here standing in front of you at COP30. And I am kind of reminded of 2 years ago at COP28 in Dubai, where we actually were able to bring together 23 nations in most continents that came together to support a declaration to triple global nuclear capacity by 2050. It was a truly bold moment, and it was a very ambitious moment. At the same time, there were still some people that said, well, you know what, that's not ambitious enough. And quite a few said that, well, it's just simply impossible. You are not going to do it. So I think I'm here to tell you that it is possible. And it is absolutely within reach. And it's only if we act decisively and collaboratively. So this is the message that we have here. So let me tell you about the story so far. So since 2023, COP28, since that historic pledge, the world has moved quite aggressively forward. We have had more countries that joined the declaration. We have seen many governments that have actually included nuclear energy in their plans. We have seen industry work together to accelerate. And frankly, we have seen civil society all over the world to ask proactively for nuclear energy. And I am here to give you fabulous news. This is exciting news, so be ready to clap. So today, we welcome 2 new nations, signatories, supporters of the declaration to triple global nuclear capacity to 2050. So I will tell you who those are. So alphabetically, First, the Republic of Rwanda. It's one of the new signatories. Woo! So, although Honorable Dr. Jimmy Gasol was unable to join us today, Rwanda's bold ambitions in nuclear energy strongly resonate with the global community's efforts to accelerate clean, reliable, and accessible energy transition. So we are keen to have Rwanda joining this coalition of the ambitious. And then second, and super exciting, Senegal. Woo! So Honorable Minister Nian, who is also unable to join us today, recently issued a powerful call to action. I'm going to read some quotes from a recent event where he spoke. So he said, Africa must not stand behind, but stand at the forefront. And his words underscore the urgency and the ambition of placing nuclear energy at the heart of Africa's energy future. He emphasized the role of nuclear energy not only delivering affordable and resilient electricity, but also advancing scientific capacity, engineering expertise, and technological sovereignty. So I think that Senegal's nuclear research reactor and all the preparations that are taking place right now for small modular reactors deployment after the Vision Senegal 2050 are a testament to the country's commitment to innovation, progress, and leadership. So thank you very much. And we have today with us Ms. Catherine Diom. Did I pronounce it correctly? So she is representing the government of Senegal. So thank you very much for your leadership. So let me tell you why this is possible. So we just today, actually, I think the press release came out last night. We launched the preview of the World Nuclear Outlook Report 2025. That reveals enormous momentum in this tripling nuclear capacity by 2050. So looking at national commitments, already total 1,363 gigawatts of electricity by 2050. So this already surpasses the 1,200 gigawatts electric, which is the goal that we set with the declaration. So when we include the reactors that are currently in operation, the ones that are currently under construction, and all the ones that are planned and proposals, the total capacity rises to more than 1,400 gigawatts electric of nuclear by 2050. So this tells you that this is possible, it's not a pipe dream. And today we have over 50 countries that have plans for nuclear energy by 2050. Obviously, we have established nuclear countries like the UK, of course, but also China, France, India, Russia, and the United States that are going to account for nearly 1,000 gigawatts of these 14 plus 100 of projected capacity by 2050. And at the same time, there are many additional countries that are exploring the use of nuclear energy, and they have not yet announced firm targets of deployment plans, as we have seen today. So let me maybe put this in perspective. Nuclear energy remains one of the lowest life cycle greenhouse gas emitting technologies among all generating technologies. So it is similar to wind power and actually lower than solar. And it actually has been unanimously recognized by the 199 signatories of the UNFCCC as a critical tool to accelerate the reduction of emissions. So this is quite important. So it is clear, nuclear is one of the key clean energy sources, and very especially it is 24/7. It is dispatchable, which we don't have too many other choices. Also, we are not just talking about 2050. In 2024, the global nuclear generation hit an all-time high. It was the highest ever. We are talking about 2,667 terawatt hour, which avoided 2.1 billion tons of CO2 emissions globally. And thank you. And maybe he knows what that means, but maybe some of you don't know. Imagine we avoided twice over the total carbon footprint of the aviation industry by nuclear energy. That is, hello, yeah, good job. Okay, so nuclear energy today provides 9% of the global electricity, which is the second largest source of carbon-free electricity, only after hydropower. But it's not just electricity. Nuclear energy can energize much more than the electricity grid. The future, in the future of many sectors, will be able to be decarbonized using nuclear energy at some level. So data centers, the chemical industry, manufacturing industry, oil and gas, sustainable aviation fuels for the aerospace industry, or actually shipping, marine shipping could be decarbonized with nuclear. So enormous opportunities to help decarbonize the entire economy. And this is why major large energy users have supported this triple global nuclear declaration, such as Amazon, such as Google, such as Dow Chemicals, such as Allseas, or many others. But let me just say, this is not about generating energy only. This is about climate, yes. This is about energy security, yes. And very importantly, and this is particularly poignant here in Brazil, this is about equity. And this is about providing prosperity for everybody, everywhere. So I think it's important that we work together to give every nation the tools that they need to decarbonize, recognizing that the tools will be different for many countries, and in many cases it will include nuclear, and in many cases it will not. But they all have the opportunity to choose what tools they are going to use. But it's also about ensuring that every nation remains independent and self-reliant. And also it's about making sure that we are not compromising the future, that we are not limiting socioeconomic development and the quality of life of this generation, but also future generations. And let me just close by give you, this is the part of where we all think what this means to us. So declarations are great, and national commitments are fabulous, but all by themselves are not enough. We now need to deliver, deliver, deliver. So the triple nuclear moment cannot just be a slogan. It has to be a call for action. So this means that to succeed, we really need to turn political goodwill into pragmatic and realistic policies and industrial action plans. This means that we all need to work together with the finance community to make sure that we put together the appropriate financial frameworks that secure affordable financing for nuclear and all carbon-free energy sources. This means that we work together with regulators to streamline and optimize licensing and permitting. And this means that we work together, the industry itself, to rebuild our capabilities, our supply chain, and we invest in human capital, many of which is here around the room. So yes, governments that are here at COP30 working together to set the frameworks are very important, but the industry, many of us, we really need to work together with these governments to build, deliver this future. So now, let me just give you the key message here. The path to tripling nuclear capacity is open, is real, but it does demand bold, pragmatic, and visionary leadership. We really need forward-thinking policies, and we do need sustained investment. So governments must act now, but the industry needs to deliver, and we need to work together with civil society to make sure that they are part of this movement that does include nuclear energy as a cornerstone for clean, reliable, and resilient energy future. So let me just tell you that a cleaner, more resilient future is within reach, one where our communities enjoy healthy environments, industries grow sustainably, and energy access is secure and equitable. And with this, I think that we need to move with purpose We need to invest in solutions that work, and we need to shape a tomorrow that is defined by reliability, innovation, and climate responsibility. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you again, Jael Catherine Diop, for being here representing Senegal in this very important moment for the Tripling Nuclear Coalition. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Room louder? Fine? Okay. Okay, my mic should be there. Well, I'm Larissa Nodem, and I have the great honor to chair the session today, so with Sama and Emily. And thank you, Sama, for mentioning that now it's time for action, because we want to talk about implementation and what is going to happen with this tripling nuclear pledge. So just a quick introducing myself. I'm Larissa. As it was mentioned, I'm a nuclear engineer, so I'm coming from a very technical background from France. And today I'm representing the Nuclear for Climate initiative. The initiative was launched 10 years ago, and it's a useless initiative that's going to COP to talk about, to advocate about nuclear energy as a part of the solution alongside with renewables and other clean energy sources. So thank you, UK Pavilion, for having us today, and I think it's really aligned with the work that it's doing. Sorry. So yeah, as a young professional, I think it's very important for us to understand how will the implementation of this pledge will take place, actually. Personally, I had the great opportunity to attend my first COP in Dubai, COP28. So that was an historical moment, as you mentioned, first because nuclear was finally acknowledged in the global stocktake as a clean energy sources, but mainly because of the tripling nuclear pledge. So I'm going to start with some questions. Sorry, is your mic working? Okay. I'm going to start with the questions. So we're now 2 years after the nuclear pledge signature. And Sama, the question goes to you. What are the noticeable shifts in countries and industry engagement, and how are different regions acting in the declaration?
Well, thank you so much. I mean, clearly, you just heard that, well, it's changed radically. So now we are today at 33 countries that have supported the declaration to triple global nuclear capacity by 2050. So that's very exciting. Now, what is even more exciting is that we are seeing lots of action in many parts of the world. So and maybe I'll do a very quick rundown of where we are in the world. So starting perhaps in North America, we are seeing that the tripling ambition is too little for some countries. So the US is actually looking to quadruple global nuclear capacity. So that's very exciting. And Canada is also moving very quickly. But also we have countries like Brazil, like Argentina, that are also looking at nuclear energy even more proactively. So in Europe, I think it's very exciting because number one, most of the countries that do currently have nuclear energy, they have moved forward to extending the life of their nuclear power plants for as long as is feasible, which is fabulous. It's excellent to have those assets functioning as long as possible. And many of them are actually building new nuclear power plants in many countries already. And the few countries that had policies that did not support nuclear energy are actually changing them. So what we are seeing is it's not just goals and objectives. We are actually seeing policies changing, and those policies actually being translated into pragmatic industrial policies. So we are seeing Sweden, Czech Republic, France, obviously the United Kingdom, where actual financial investment decisions are being made for nuclear projects. And the same is happening in parts in Africa. So in Africa, we just heard 2 African countries today that are looking at new nuclear. but we already have 4 nuclear power plants under construction in Egypt. We have major announcements just last week in South Africa with the long-term extension of the existing units and plans for new nuclear. So very, very exciting. And there are a number of other countries in Europe, that in Africa, also interested in nuclear. Then Middle East, UAE, everybody's looking at UAE, United Arab Emirates, as a fabulous example of how to do nuclear. And we see countries also in the Middle East and Central Asia, like Uzbekistan, like Kazakhstan, also with major pledges and commitments for nuclear. And then, of course, if I keep going, China by itself is already tripling nuclear by themselves, is doing a fabulous job. India also has fantastic commitments, that 100 gigawatts of nuclear by 2047. And then we have countries like Japan, like South Korea, like many countries in ASEAN. So we're very ambitious plans to maintain capacity and move forward. And then we see Singapore and Malaysia and Indonesia and Thailand and Philippines. Many countries that currently do not have nuclear energy, but that they have these ambitious goals. So I'm pretty sure I have forgotten many places, because it really is a global movement. And as I said, it's not just goals, it's actual policies and pragmatic industrial strategies that are being applied already to make these goals a reality.
Sorry, thank you, Sama. Very interesting, and that actually means that for us, I mean, young professional, that we do have a lot of work to come for the implementation of all that. So that's amazing. My next question will go to Emily, and it's about, so since this tripling nuclear pledge, what does it mean for Urenco and for the fuel industry in general? Today, we see a growing interest in nuclear, but we will need fuel for that, and especially for emerging markets or new technology. So how is Urenco will be able to meet the demand?
Sure. I'm just checking this is working. Yeah, great. So thanks for the question. And we were delighted to sign the tripling pledge at COP in Dubai as one of the companies. Closer. Okay. So we were delighted to sign the tripling pledge in Dubai as well, and it's really, for a company obviously working in the nuclear fuel sector, it's good. It's a good time to be in the nuclear sector. Our order book has grown 27% in 2024. And we're actively expanding capacity at all of our sites, and we've got room to expand at all of our sites as well. So, I think one of the key things for us is that as our enrichment capacity grows, we need capacity to grow across the fuel cycle, so in conversion, deconversion, to make sure that all of those things happen at the same time. So all of these new reactors will be fueled. So I think as we look ahead and we see the advanced modular reactors and small modular reactors coming online, one thing that Urenco has done is building a first-of-a-kind high-assay, low-enriched uranium facility at our site in Cheshire in the UK. And I think it's a good example of where a government has stepped in to help. So the UK government last year made a pledge to co-invest with Urenco to try and solve this chicken and egg problem, that we weren't going to have new reactors come online unless they had a reliable fuel source. And as a private company, it's hard to make those investments when that demand is unknown. So with that co-investment, it unlocked our decision to look at the HALEU facility in the UK. And that will be a really key way that advanced modular reactors and small modular reactors can come online, hopefully without fuel source. So we're helping enable the tripling through providing the advanced fuels. And then I would say that from the larger reactors as well, that the fuel, the low enriched uranium, will come from all of our sites, and we've got room to keep expanding. So I think Urenco as a company is doing its part, but it requires collaboration across the whole industry, and we're happy to work together to get that to happen.
Thank you, Emily. So from my understanding, governments and industry are really working jointly to attend and to implement this tripling nuclear pledge. So I think this is a very good news. So my next question is still for Emily, and you touched the point of the new fuels, especially for the advanced reactors. Um, so how is this British innovation shaping like the next generation, and how is Urenco planning to support these emerging technologies? Maybe to give a little bit.
Sure, I can give a couple more thoughts. So we had commissioned recently a study to look at kind of what's needed for the SMR market to develop. And one of the key ways that we can help unlock this market is by having kind of product-based delivery, product-based licensing, and making more sites available for SMRs as well. So all of these things will hopefully speed the timeline for deployment, enable innovation to happen in that space as well. And I think regulators and governments are really recognizing what's needed as well. With our HALEU facility, so as I mentioned, we're building in the UK. There's potential that we may build in the US as well when the commercial demand is there. But what we're going to need in that sector too is developments in transportation, new transportation packages, and deconversion to come online too. So all of that is innovative, it's all new, and it will all help drive and fuel these new reactors, which are all cutting edge technology. So it's a quite exciting place to be in, I think.
It is. I guess all the engineers in the room are excited about that. I am. So yeah, definitely. My next question, still on the innovation and the new technology, will go to Sama. Especially you working globally. So what are the most exciting R&D and technology development that you can see or you're seeing around the world? And how can government and industry work together maybe more efficiently to deliver this and to get an effective implementation?
Well, thank you. And I think that Emily has started with very exciting innovations in fuel, which of course are essential because without fuel we don't have nuclear energy, right? So that's very exciting. So I will go to the rest of the value chain. So first of all, one thing that I think is important for all of you to understand is the nuclear industry has been around for 5+ decades, and we actually pride ourselves of always learn from each other. So we are always learning from existing, good practices and not so good practices. So we are always innovating. So, but what I think that perhaps is more relevant to the conversation that we are having here today is major innovations that is taking place in how effectively, how quickly we are delivering new nuclear. So perhaps one of the things that is more in everybody's minds is the development of small modular reactors. So the technology itself for small modular reactors is not particularly different from what we have right now. What is very exciting and more unique, in my opinion, is the delivery mechanism. So we are moving to reactors that are standardized, that often are going to be factory fabricated. They are going to require a smaller civil infrastructure. So it's almost you can manufacture them in a factory, put them in the back of a truck, and send them wherever it is that they are going to be deployed. Obviously, this is not as simple as I'm making it sound. It does require significant research and development. We are working together within the nuclear industry, but also learning from other industries that do modularization and standardization very, very well. So we are really working with, the shipping industry, the shipyards. They know how to do this very well. So we are learning from them and many others. So I think that is going to give the opportunity for the global nuclear industry to very quickly move from the traditional delivery model that was more maybe one project at a time. And the idea here is to move towards programs. So we actually deployed these reactors much more quickly in a way that actually is going to help us meet this triple global nuclear capacity by 2050 goal that we all want. So I think that maybe I'll stop here because those are, I think that in the context of COP, the more relevant innovations.
Thank you, Sama. Anyways, we will open question after, but yeah, I think innovation will definitely support the implementation and will be key to attain the objectives. But I have a third area that comes to my mind right now, and it's more about capacity building and workforce development. My question will go to Sama. We know that we will need a huge demand in terms of human resources. So what are the trends that you're seeing in workforce development across region? Because I guess the strategy might be different regions to regions. And how is the industry preparing to meet this demand?
Well, obviously, once again, if we are serious about tripling nuclear capacity, we are going to probably triple human resources and talents and expertise. So, well, there is many things that I think that we all need to understand. We need to upscale and grow the entire energy workforce. It's not just nuclear energy. And even though there is a few jobs, a few professions that are very unique to nuclear energy, the majority of them are not that unique to nuclear. So I think that it is essential, and we are trying to do that, working with governments to make sure that we are putting together industrial strategies that incentivize professions, and I will tell you there are many professions in energy in general, and hopefully in nuclear energy in particular. And yes, we will need many nuclear engineers, but we will also need electrical engineers and mechanical engineers and civil engineers and pipe fitters and welders and project managers and economists and many policymakers like some of the people in the room. I mean, so there are many professions that are essential if we are going to deliver the abundant, affordable, 24/7 carbon-free energy, including nuclear, that the world needs. So that's very important. And then, on the other hand, let's recognize that there are many parts of the world that are looking at nuclear energy and currently do not have those skills and those capabilities. So I think that the nuclear industry, working together with the International Atomic Energy Agency and many governments, we are working together with these countries, regions of the world, to make sure that we develop the capacity infrastructure that is needed for those countries to actually hit the ground running and actually being able to develop new nuclear capabilities at a global level. So, but again, as I said before, it's not just nuclear, it's energy capabilities, and many of them are easy to be transferred. And again, talking about equity, which is a key theme at COP30, there are many people that are currently working perhaps in the sector the fossil fuel sector, and we are looking towards phase down and phase out this sector. There are enormous opportunities to reskill and to bring all those fabulous professionals into other energy sectors, hopefully the nuclear energy sector, and use those talents and capabilities elsewhere in the world.
Thank you very much, Sama. And yeah, I think it's really important the point that you raised on energy capability and not just close to nuclear. And competencies are also very transferable from different industry. I want to touch a point on the international collaboration. And so I'm turning to Emily for that. So how is Urenco working on supporting the international resilience for the nuclear fuel?
Thanks for the question. And I think, I mean, as Salva said earlier, there's a need more than ever for abundant energy, and countries working together to deliver that is really vital. Again, to make a really tangible example of what industry is doing, one area that we've really worked with Cameco and Westinghouse is actually supporting some of the countries in Europe to move their dependence away from Russia. So for Slovakia and Hungary, we've partnered up from an industrial perspective to offer a kind of a fuel cycle approach so that those countries can transition away successfully to move their dependence away from Russia. So the collaboration can happen from an industrial perspective, but also it can happen from a government perspective. The Sapporo 5 declaration that was happened a couple of years ago was really key to look at how the fuel cycle cooperates. And I think it was September this year that the US and the UK agreed to work together on key initiatives. So I think when Western countries work together, you know, that the opportunities are limitless for that energy security, and fuel and enrichment of fuel is a key part of that. So yeah, I think industry can do it as well as government.
Definitely. Without fuel, as you said, we won't be able to run any reactors. So before, as we're slowly heading to the end of this discussion, which is absolutely exciting, I have a question for both of you. I mean, two questions. The first question is, if we picture ourselves in 2050, so the pledge is implemented, how does success look like for Urenco, but also for the global energy industry in terms of innovation and implementation? And my second question is more for you. I took it from Sama, but I think it's very important, and is what would be a successful COP30 for you? So yeah.
Okay. Since I've got the microphone, I can start. So I think one thing for 2050, what success would look like? Yeah. Thanks. So I think for what success would look like, as I mentioned earlier, it's that kind of unlocking that innovation. So from a nuclear industry perspective, you know, advanced reactors will hopefully be online. There'll be next generation fuels, digitalized plant operations, AI, waste minimization, and even advancements in fusion. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity for an innovative and transformed nuclear sector. And I think that will be, you know, if we can have an outcome that gets anywhere close to that, we'll be in a very good space.
So for 2050, again, obviously success would feel that in fact we have triple global nuclear capacity by 2050. But let me just say, this is not just a matter of numbers, of having X many gigawatts of nuclear energy. I mean, to me, this is more about what this means. And this means that we would have global energy systems that have, as I said before, abundant, affordable, 24/7 carbon-free energy. That does include nuclear, not only. I mean, obviously, it's the entire system. And this obviously to me translates in socioeconomic development, in quality of life, in prosperity, in you know, jobs and betterness for everybody everywhere. So to me, that is the success, not whether we have more or less capacity of nuclear. So that's what I would like to see. And frankly, again, to me, this is just the beginning. So because if you look at this, triple nuclear capacity is just maintaining the current percentage of global electricity that comes from nuclear energy. But as I mentioned before, there are a myriad of opportunities. It's not just electrifying the grid. It's providing carbon-free steam to help decarbonize other sectors of the economy. So then I think that these are innovations and opportunities that we are starting to scratch the surface right now, and I would like to see much more of that in 2050. Okay, so for COP 30, you know, I think that we all are very, very busy and learning quite a bit and interacting with a lot of people, but I don't know that we all are keeping our mind on what it is that we are trying to achieve here. So I mean, personally, I would like to see that, I mean, as you know, we are finalizing to get all the NDCs, so all the countries are submitting their goals. So hopefully we are tallying up those goals and they are becoming more and more ambitious. And very importantly, they are actually being implemented. So this is something that we are trying to achieve here at COP30, the tallying the NDCs and having metrics and measures that are cohesive and coordinated. And then the other part that I think is very important is what we have here, right? The putting the people and the planet a little bit at the center. Sometimes we have forgotten that. So hopefully the negotiations will keep that in mind.
Thanks. I think one thing I always reflect on is that there's a lot of companies that often come to COP, and I would include Urenco in that. So just from a very kind of parochial perspective, I think for whenever companies come, it's really encouraging for them to hear about the why, the purpose, and it isn't, always about, the delivering the commercial outcomes, but it can be as well. So I think for one thing that I would think is a successful COP is having that corporate involvement, but when we actually go away and think, how can it be better for business by being involved in COP? So it's a win-win situation that we can make the planet, in a healthier state, but also do that with corporates, not against them as well. So to have that partnership approach. And my first COP was in Glasgow when nuclear started to really get on the agenda. And just to see the progress that's been made in COP since then with nuclear, in part to your leadership, Sama, too. But it's really been tremendous. So I would like to see that continue and keep growing in momentum.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you very much. So before I open the floor to the question for the audience, before I we have, I just want to say that was a great discussion, and I think the final message is very hope, especially on this pledge implementation for youth, because I'm representing the youth community here, and globally, really globally, not only in the global north, but also for emerging countries. We had 2 new countries signing the pledge today, and I think this is absolutely amazing. So yeah, we also need to acknowledge leading countries such as the UK with their NDC. I think what is happening is absolutely amazing. But also your initiative from some organization, or N4C, who is attending COP since 10 years now, and advocating for nuclear, and they saw the result 8 years later with the pledge and the stocktake. So thank you very much, and I'm going to open the floor for the question now.
Hello. So thank you. First of all, that was a really enlightening and optimistic panel. Sorry, one thing that I didn't hear as part of the discussion, and I think we're looking at new large nuclear, even in a province where people are used to nuclear. The idea of adding on more, the questions come up, and the political and social license determined by having an answer around how we deal with the waste safely and responsibly. And our members at the Nuclear Waste Management Organization are our best advocates publicly. They do more to reassure people than anyone else. How do you think we have that conversation? What's missing, and how do we inject that in to help create the social and political license we're going to need to triple?
So I'll start the answer, and maybe somebody else wants to add something. So I agree that obviously we need to be 100% transparent. We need to inspire, as I said, trust. This is not about the energy, it's about what the energy powers, which is the human development and the planet protection. So I always actually love that question, because what many people don't understand is that the issue with used nuclear fuel or nuclear waste is actually not, it is not the problem that people envisions. So, I don't call nuclear waste, I call it barely used nuclear fuel, because as you probably know, 95% of the energy remains in what we call used nuclear, nuclear waste. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I think is very important is to recognize that the amount of nuclear waste that has been produced by the entire global nuclear industry throughout the last almost 60 years of nuclear operations is a really, really small amount of material. We are talking all that material for the entire world, for the entire 60 years, fitting in one football field. So this is a teeny tiny amount of material. I mean, of course, you know, if the fossil fuel industry would have managed their waste the same way that the nuclear industry has managed ours, we wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't have a climate change problem, frankly. So that's the thing. So this is a material that is well maintained, well managed, well separated from the environment. And yes, as we continue with the nuclear industry, we will continue to have those practices. In many countries, we are going to separate this material from the environment with a deep geological repository, as you know. And in many countries, we are actually going to make the most of this material by recycling it. So this is something that has been done in the UK. This is something that is done in France, in Russia, in Japan, and in many other countries. So in fact, what we call nuclear waste is a resource. It's going to help us have to use less uranium. We are going to use this recycled material that is going to help us minimize how much we have to use new uranium mine. So I think that it's important, as you said, that we articulate this ecosystem, this entire system, so everybody, as they consider whether nuclear energy is or isn't part of their long energy future in their countries, in their communities, in their regions, they understand how it all fits together. So thank you. I agree with you. We need to be completely transparent and put the entire information on the table.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Sama. And I think the key answer here would be probably innovation and technologies. Sama mentioned the recycling of the fuel, which is one first technology. But we can also think of some other technologies to reduce the waste, the final waste which exists. I had a discussion yesterday, I think, with people from Switzerland about transmutation. So if engineers pursue, we are probably being able to even lower the quantity of waste. However, and today's, in our words, we have engineers, I mean waste engineer or radiation protection engineer that ensure that environment and public are not are safe. So that's yeah. We may have some other questions.
Good afternoon. My name is Guido Nunez. Closer? Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Guido Nunez, and I want to congratulate you for this wonderful, energetic panel. And I want to ask you, how can we translate this energy into COP in general? Because you go to pavilions of countries that are leaders in nuclear, like in France, and what do you see? Pictures of wind turbines. You go to South Korea, and you see pictures of little hydrogen machines, a technology that's not even commercial. You go to China, nothing. There is no nuclear pride. And you go and talk to them, and their body language changes, they start looking at the floor, they start shifting, they're ashamed. So what can we do that next COP, maybe not next COP, but in 2 years, we have the beautiful solar panels, the wind turbines, and the beautiful nuclear reactors? What can we do to foster this nuclear pride that you obviously have?
I will give my opinion, and then you guys can add. Well, I think that we've come a long way. So well. So we know what his goal is for not 2050, but next year. So no, but seriously, I think that many countries are, and as I said in my speech, if you look at the World Nuclear Outlook report, there is already 50 countries around the world that are including nuclear energy in their long-term plans for decarbonization. And in fact, more and more countries are including nuclear energy in their NDCs. So the question is, how we can make that mainstream, right? So how we can have beautiful nuclear power plants together with beautiful solar panels and beautiful wind turbines and geothermal and hydropower and everything else. So, well, we are I would say new, but certainly new on the mainstream. So I think it's going to take a little bit of continuous education, continuous working together with governments to make sure that people understand how nuclear is here to play well with others. It's just one of the available options that we have, and it's just as good or as bad as all the others. I mean, there is no silver bullet. All technologies are needed, and all of them are essential and important, and we need to just bring them together.
Thanks. I think just to add, one thing that I think the nuclear industry has suffered from has just been a bit of a bunker mentality for a number of years, where we felt, that the outside world isn't interested maybe in the story of nuclear or the role that we can play as well. So I think it's incumbent on the nuclear sector to talk more about the work that we do, about the role that we can play in combating climate change, and not to be nervous or think that the world is against us necessarily. Because I think when you have the conversation, when you engage in the debate, people are really interested in the role that nuclear can play. So I think it's incumbent on, governments, nuclear sector, advocates to all, try to kind of spread the word in spread the word, in a more evangelical way, just about the benefits that nuclear can play as well.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think, just giving my perspective, but maybe giving more power to youth organization, especially to make it mainstream. I'm thinking of social media or other ways of communications. So yeah, I think Nuclear for Climate is absolutely doing a great job, and I hope that they're going to continue attending COP and making mainstream talking about nuclear alongside with renewables in the coming years. I think we're heading to the end of our panel right now. We just passed the time. I really want to thank both of our speakers today. The discussion was absolutely amazing, and I hope we'll be able to have further discussion in the future, maybe about how we implement it. Thank you.